Testing. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. I think that did it. Now to adjust the settings because unexpected chugging. Bring down the audio a little. Okay. All right, I think that did it. Ooh, that's just gonna chug, ain't it? Let's see if we can't fix that. Go back to native settings. That will literally turn everything off. Probably not running at ideal levels. You can see him at the preview feed. It's running a little slow. Hi, Kyle. Settings on this would be a little easier to figure out. Also, the game audio is still really loud. I don't know if that's on my end or what. There we go. Oh god. butt ugly, but it's running now. It's a shame because off stream, this game is actually really pretty. Oh god. Get away from me. Horrible. Clown man. I did not come in here prepared. But I found a scrap of metal. That's good. Recording device. Okay. Perhaps that's better now. Nope, that has no effect. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with it, because I think I got the slowdown problem mostly figured out. If I can stop coughing. I've been pseudo-sick for like the last 3 weeks, and it's just not going away. Sadly, I might not have the horsepower in my computer for this, despite the fact that I just upgraded the processor. I should try something a little more stable, like Heroes. But I really wanted to play this before going to bed, so here I am. Let that slow down low. Problem is that it could be a combination of things. Like, it could be that I don't have my router adjusted properly, so I'm not getting the max up and downstream that I want, or at least that I'm, paying for. Shout out, Buckeye. Could be that. It could be the processor, though. I don't think so. Like, I upgraded to a quad core, like the highest end quad core I can get for this computer. I want to say it's 3.35 megahertz a core. Maybe I don't have that optimized right. I don't know. One of the downsides of doing all this is that I'm kind of doing it by the seat of my ass. I just don't have any clue of what I'm doing, really. I will freely admit that. Because really, what else am I gonna do? Hey, the mic sounds better now. All I had to do was lean forward a few feet. I think that's the other problem, too, is that I've received all of this, like, gaming tech in the last couple of weeks. Like, I got these microphones, the processor is relatively new. And I thought I knew about all these things, but I'm slowly learning that I have no idea. I was only half joking when I said I wish I would have gone to school for video production. Because, man, that's looking more and more like a good idea as Twitch streaming becomes more popular. Because I gotta say, when it comes to audio and video settings, I know absolutely nothing. Like, I consider myself pretty tech-savvy, but when it comes to that, I am out. My wife and I used to do a podcast for a gaming site we used to write for. Man, that was just a shit show. We did about 14 episodes. And I was manually editing the show in Audacity. And we recorded with this mic that I got for $20 at Radio Shack. That was just like a desktop, like stick mic. Like, it was literally just a little microphone nub. And we somehow recorded like 13 episodes of that terrible podcast like that. It was experience. I mean, at the very least, It taught me some things I definitely didn't know about audio. Audacity makes it really easy to do, luckily. Watch this not go in my favor. Oh, look. Making me eat my bread. Wow, Southern Ohio just came out of me there for a second, didn't it? Man, more of these guys? Cheesing!
Alright, that takes care of you guys.
Okay. It's a condor's perch. How about I hold up some meat? Meat. Meat. And here we are back in Balance Valley. I don't know if anybody out there has played Dark Cloud before. It is a weird game that I kind of realized this week is a precursor to a lot of games, including, I think, Minecraft. Like, I know a lot of games can kind of make that claim. Game claim to fame, so to speak. When I'm laying down ill rhymes. Isn't one of these put Priest Bruno in here? Yeah, because I've got to build a church. I don't have the piece for a church yet. Anyways, there's a building component of this game that always really caught my imagination. The gist is that you were trying to rebuild towns in the past, your current timeline, the main character is at least Max, in order to change things in the future for the better. To restore origin points, so to speak. So as you complete objectives in this analysis list, you return things to how they were in the future. And that's all part of the storyline too, without getting too far into it. You collect these items called geostones in each of the dungeons that reveal these and also give you new pieces to create. And they can range from simple stuff like this to more specific things that I'm going to need absolutely to move the plot along, like a church, which is what I need right now. And it has not come up yet. The geostones are all locked in place. As in, they aren't random drops, so it's not like I'm continually running a dungeon in order to get specific pieces of... in order to get specific pieces of gear. Not gear, but, you know, items to build with. So it's not that kind of thing. In actuality, the building in this game is really simple, but it is used to serve the plot, which is why I'm okay with it. I don't think I can upgrade Steve any further. Robot Steve, I mean. Oh wow, I'm real close to that. But man, this game was so overlooked. I really feel like it. Like, great JRPG story. It's made by a company that a lot of people now know. I believe it's Factor 5. They did Ni no Kuni, which I think a lot of people know, but now the big thing that everybody kind of knows them for is Yokai Watch, which I had no idea they were making it. Hold on, please. I had no idea they were making that game until I looked at the art style because I must have been a moron, and then it was like, oh yeah, yeah, they're making that game. I mean, you can take one look at those character designs and be like, yeah, that's Factor 5. So, we're gonna hop back into the dungeon. Oh god, really? So sometimes floors will have a lock on which character of the two main characters you can use, which is a bummer because playing as Monica makes it really hard to kill any of the heavy characters. Also, I appear to be out of repair items for her, which... that's going to be a problem. This might have been a bad idea. Huh. Yeah, I can't build either of these. Well, I can build that one up, but what's the point? It's attack. And I don't have any weapons, so... yep. Tally-ho! Come get some, elephant. Oh, that... okay, this isn't going very well. Hey, stop that. You're making me look bad in front of my peeps. You know, or the one person probably watching. Hey, I killed it. Maybe I'll get lucky and that's the only elephant that spawned in this random dungeon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean, know what I mean. This game is also kind of a last of its class. Like, they don't make hard as balls RPGs like this. Well, mainstream, at least. It's totally the kind of thing you see in indie games still. You know, hold on a second. Trying out different audio settings on this gigantic $150 mic that I somehow stumbled upon. And remember how I said I don't really know how to use things? Well, there you go. Good elephant. Man, I have no attack items. Okay, well... well, I killed it. Couldn't figure out why it was glowing green, though. This will probably not go as well. Oh, wow. I think running away is the correct solution there. See, the bummer of that is that in order to progress through the dungeons, you have to kill enemies because the enemies are the only way to pick up the item that lets you escape said dungeon. So... yeah, that's it. Try to throw that elephant. Well, I don't know how, but I stunned it as it just walks towards me menacingly. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life, elephant? Why don't you go to elephant law school like your brother? Why can't you be like your brother? He's such a nice, respectable man. Running! Running away. Hey, look, another elephant. It's just elephant Palooza over here. Oh, come on, that's not even remotely fair. Oh god. My dermatitis is acting up. Oh, hi Shadow. My obese cat, Shadow, has joined us on the stream tonight. Shadow, wheeze, hello. Sadly, there's been a couple streams, including my Fallout Quick Look, where you can totally hear the cat wheezing. just like she's asleep on the couch. And I guess this is a positive endorsement for the new mic, but you can totally hear the cat just going because, well, she's slowly dying inside. Man, I wish I had some repair powder for my bracer. Like, her magic attacks aren't the greatest, but it would be nice right about now. If for anything, but to have, like, a kiting or an aggro drawing ability, especially if I run into a group or 2 or 3 enemies coming up. So I don't stream very often. I just had this, like, weird fear pop up of somebody being in the apartment, you know, in my locked apartment, and like coming up behind me. I'm a paranoid person as it is. Oh god, this is not good. I must get away from the pachyderms. Hey, it's dead. Jesus. Jesus! You're making me use all my bread. See it happen again. Like, I turned around, it felt like there was somebody behind me, and in actuality, it's just my obese cat. That was a weird clipping animation, but it worked. Oh god, please tell me this thing's gonna level up. Oh wait, no, I've got a long way to go. Shoot. So you can spectrumize items in order to turn them into stat boosts for your weapons. As your weapons level up, you get synthesis points that let you basically feed those items to your weapon. And as you fill in the required amounts, you can transmogrify it into a new weapon. Like so. Like now, the beast stat's taken care of, so I can move on to Cyclone. The 0 on the smash stat is the reason why that giant rock man tried to kill me with his rock hand. I don't know if it'll help, but I can turn into this. And like, fear me, I'm... Does that seriously say no effect? Wow. Come on, elephant. Why you gotta be like that? Make me look bad on the internet. Nobody does that except for me. Really like the character design in this game. Like, it's a damn good-looking PS2 game, and how it hasn't been remastered yet is just kind of mind-boggling to me. They have another game that I don't know if people are even familiar with that game, Rogue Galaxy, which came out after this, and is a very similar game, except it's set in space. It's basically Firefly, except with this setup. And apparently that game is really rare. Like, physical hard copies of it still go for over original retail price. Like, I saw a copy of it in a GameStop one time for $80. Which I thought was kind of funny. Especially in a day now where, you know,
rare games shouldn't be a thing anymore just because they were hard to get a hold of. Like, for the purposes of collection, okay, sure, but games getting jacked up in price purely because not many people have played them because it's impossible to find, that seems silly to me in a day where like I buy all of my games, almost completely all my games, digitally. Or when I'm doing something like this, you know, emulating a game that I bought over 10 years ago. In fact, I probably still have it at my parents' somewhere. I don't have the system for it, but I definitely have that game. I have the memory cards to prove it if the MPAA would like to... No, come on, no, don't do this to me. Fuck, really? What was that? Oh, why you gotta be that way, elephant? I don't want to downstream. I mean, I am about to go to bed anyways, but... His trunk has a really weird, like, extended hitbox thing going on, which is good for me and bad for it. Oh, good. You know what? I've got the Geostone. I've got the meat. I just leveled up again. I'm getting out of here. And calling it a day. Because everything in here wants to kill me without my robot. Ow. Boo. Wow, I forgot how big this place was. Ugh. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. I was checking my Facebook and saying goodnight to my wife. Wow, those backgrounds look terrible. Like, this just doesn't do the game justice at all. I wish I had a super pimped out PC, because this game running in higher native resolution really makes this art style just sing. Come on, Geostones, why? Why I gotta be like that? Well, friends, if anybody is out there, because I don't know, because I turned off the browser. I'm going to bed for the evening. Thank you for hanging out with me for what little time I was here. I'm in the Overwatch beta, actually, so with any luck, and if I'm around this weekend at all, I would like to try and stream some of that. I don't know how well that's going to go. Mostly because I don't think that if my system can barely handle running a PS2 emulator, like, I don't know how effective it's going to be at running an actual game. like Overwatch. I guess we'll see. One way or another, I might even just turn on OBS and record that for like purposes of uploading later. It's amazing how Blizzard has kind of gotten their claws into me when it's come to their new releases of games. I got into HOTS in a big bad way, and it's cooled off recently because of the flood of summer game or fall game reviews coming in. Like, I've spent my last 3 weeks doing nothing but thinking about Fallout 3. Man, I'm glad to have that game like out of my skin. Like I'm so conflicted on that game because my review came out today, and I wanted to be as honest as possible in talking about its bugs and technical and graphical glitches. But even past that, I think it's an inferior game to the other Fallout games that have come before. I really do. The openings of 3 and New Vegas are so much stronger from a narrative aspect. Like when the Vault Dweller from 3 leaves the vault, you've got some real motivation that works either for a good guy or a bad guy. Like your father has abandoned you. You've been basically kicked out of the vault one way or another. You've been hidden away your whole life. I think the important part of that is that you see your character growing up. From literally birth until you leave the vault. That creates an attachment. You can kind of see what the character's gone through. And if you're playing it good, you can see that, yes, my character is trying to overcome this adversity and all this terrible crap that's happened, and is focused on making things right and finding their father, who probably has his own reasons for leaving. On the flip side, if you play it as a bad guy, it makes a lot of sense to understand why that character is just pissed off at the world. The vault, they've been born into a life underground that nobody would ever ask for, especially when they had a chance of getting by it. It was the choice of the father in Fallout 3 to come back to that vault in the first place. So you can understand why you can come out of the vault playing heal and immediately go blow up Megaton. Why wouldn't you? I'd blow up Megaton. I mean, come on. Who of us didn't immediately go find Megaton once we heard about it? Once Fallout 3 really started to hit, and just make a different save file and go blow it up immediately. I did. I mean, honestly, that's one of the best parts of that game. My wife, who used to be as big of a gamer as me, but not so much anymore because of recent life changes, she never beat Fallout 3, and she still talks about the ending, or not the ending, but blowing up Megaton as like one of those perennial hallmark moments from last gaming gen. And I tend to agree with her, and I think that's kind of a bummer because even New Vegas had something similar to that, with using the Poseidon energy tower to either provide energy, or in this batshit crazy like heel turn, you can use it as a weapon and just start destroying things. That's great. There's a couple moments like that in New Vegas. I care for the main story of New Vegas less than Fallout 3, but I think the side quests, and especially the DLC, are far superior to both 3 and 4. Not necessarily because those are made by different companies, but those games just feel more consistent in a big way. There's something about 4 that just feels disjointed, and maybe it's because the Fallout 4 spoilers, by the way. Like, I assume that if anybody's here, they don't care about Fallout 4 spoilers. But the rationale of like, oh, my significant other was shot and my kid was abducted is, in my opinion, a drop in the hat and not nearly as interesting of a story as I have been frozen for 200 years. The last time I was conscious, I was living my normal life, and then sirens start going off, and then I'm shoved into a hole in the ground, and then I'm frozen, and I wake up into an absolute hellhole. Bombs have destroyed everything, lawlessness everywhere, guns kind of rule the world. Like, that is the more interesting story to me. Telling the story about how this person adjusts to a world that is a complete opposite to the world they know. And they don't play into that at all. I think the only little bit you get of that is when you first come out, and it's that opening scene with Codsworth that, has been the only bit that we saw from press release footage early on. And that's really all you get, where you can kind of pick a few choices where your character is like disoriented, but because the dialogue is canned, the choices aren't nearly as varied. But they should have played into that more. Like the first main quest where you go to Concord and you get the power armor and you help the Minutemen. Like, not at one point does your character stop and be like, wait, what is going on? What happened here? Who are you people? What am I doing? What are you talking about? Your character just kind of gives them the okie doke and be like, yeah, I'll totally jump into that monstrosity Iron Man suit and grab a minigun off of that felled advanced warship and jump down off of this building and kill a whole bunch of dudes and then fight a Deathclaw. Like, what? No. Like, I kept expecting the character to, like, freak out and run away. Mostly because I didn't expect them to throw a Deathclaw fight out that early. So kudos to them for just chucking you into the deep end, even if you do have, a complete power armor suit. But it would have been nice if they would have dealt with that person out of time aspect of the game. And instead, the entire main plot is completely centered around finding your son. And when you do find your son, it's a complete letdown. Like, the Institute has been threaded through the Fallout mythos, from the beginning as this mysterious organization. And the best they can do is kind of this lame, innocuous, somewhat evil, like, conglomerate that's ran by your kidnapped adopted son, or kidnapped son. And the rationale for why they took the kid is just so dumb. Like, we needed human DNA to create the synths. And we needed somebody who was pure and free of radiation. Okay, so why did you keep the kid alive then? Like, why did you need a kid in the first place? Why didn't you take one of the adults? How about the red herring that Kellogg is the same age throughout all of it, and then they hand wave it away at the end of the game? You're like, oh, nope, he was augmented. He was basically an android. Ha ha ha. What was that? The main storyline in Fallout 4 is just so utterly inconsistent. Which is why I feel like, even in light of Bethesda saying that they're going to patch the game, which came out today, it was kind of a general, yeah, we're going to fix that stuff. Even in light of that, I would give the game a 3 all over again. Because it is inevitably just more Fallout. And I know plenty of people that will be A-okay with that. I was okay with that for the first 20 or 30 hours. But I hit this part, past that 30-hour mark, where I realized I had like 5 days to finish the game before I needed to start thinking about my review, even though I wasn't reviewing for embargo. And I started grinding through the main story stuff, and I stopped having fun. Like, those missions mechanically are boring, storyline are boring. Like, the most fun it gets is following the dog around half of the Boston map while he sniffs for an android. This is something that was never addressed in the game at all. Like, at one point, I made a separate save when I met Sean in the Institute. and instantly shot him in the head because I wanted to see what happened because I thought he was a robot. And as it turns out, like, black fluid shot out of him. Like, there wasn't any blood. But what was lame is that was it. Like, nobody in the Institute tried to attack me after I shot him. The mission changed to just say, exit the Institute. And then as soon as I left, like, robots were attacking the castle, which I assumed was the in-game mission. Like, I remember in 3 and 4, things getting really wacky if you decided to flip the script and mess with the in-game enemy. Like, in 3, you can kill the computer robot president in the middle of his speech, and things start exploding. In New Vegas, you can kill Mr. House with a command console, a hack. And then everybody in his tower tries to kill you, and from there it just jumps to the Kaisar's Legion stuff. You can kill Kaisar. Like, those are those kind of like wacky third and fourth options that I really liked, and 4 didn't have any of that. It was just paint by numbers. Side quests were good. The Silver Shroud side quest is one of my favorite Fallout side quests now, definitely. Here's another problem. The vaults in Fallout 4 are just boring. And there's only 3 of them, not counting the base, or the vault you start in. There's a vault near the glowing sea, which is where the initial bomb hit. That is the home of the gunners. And the only hints they give you about that vault were that... and this one was actually kind of cool. It was a vault where they only took in former drug addicts, put them through their equivalent of a 12-step program, and got them clean for 5 years. And then at the 5-year mark, opened up a giant hidden cache full of drugs. I I have a dark sense of humor, so that was just like, all right, that's kind of funny. I can see that working out. That's as good as it got, though. The second vault, you don't get a description for. It's just a mafia hideout underneath Boston Common. And the third is Vault 81, which is part of a whole storyline that was a testing ground for biochemical weapons. Okay. Like, there used to be so much flavor and context in those vaults. Like in 3, and especially New Vegas, finding the vaults was my favorite part because they were all weird. Like the vault filled with nothing but clones of one guy named Gary, or a vault that when you stepped into it, you're instantly hit with like drugs that start messing with your vision, or the one that was playing a radio signal that was constantly messing with people. Those were inventive, and man, 4 just had none of that. I would really love to know the inside poop of how long 4's development was and how long they've been writing it. Because I think it would explain some things about the game. Like why the engine is just so janky. Like, clearly it's the Skyrim engine with some modifications. But how long did they develop that script? Part of the reason why 3 and New Vegas were so good is because those scripts were kind of created a long time ago. They were part of the pen and paper books for a while. They actually made like Fallout 3 into a pen and paper tabletop RPG to test the mechanics before they turned it into a video game, which is interesting. You can actually, if you Google it, you can find some of the pictures of their source book they made for it, which is some really interesting insight into how they handled game development. But there's a lot of love there. And in general, I feel like 4 is kind of a lazy cash grab that they made by the seat of their pants. Because Fallout is one of the last few uncritiquable in the eyes of the popular consumer. Like, they've always been good, so you can't say boo about it without somebody freaking out. I've seen it today, like the stuff going on with Rooster Teeth and Jeff Gerstmann. I mean, that's just... The internet is a weird place, guys. It's a weird place. So, with that said, I went off on one hell of a tangent. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I'm just tired. I don't know. But there's really only one thing to do. And that's to call me on my cell phone. So, thank you, Drake, for joining us. You used to call me on my Wii Shop. Late night when you need some pilot wings. Thanks to anybody who joined me. Follow me on Twitter at WHarrison. www.backlogadventures.com. Find me on ToledoBlade.com. Or follow me. Follow me on here. Twitch.tv/ZEYEPAWDZ. Until then, I'm Will Harrison, and thanks for joining me, and I will be back.